Yo, welcome everybody. It is. I do this too, Jay. I don't know why I do this thing. I've been doing this for years. Saturday night, and this is the NGSC Sports NBA show. I'm your host, Ralph Garcia, joined by my boy in shot right outside of Shot Town. I was gonna say in Shot Town. Jordan Beer, what's up, Jay?
Oh man, Ralph, what a season we got so far. We got a lot to talk about.
Man, we got a whole lot to talk about. We got so much to talk about, y'all. We actually did 30 minutes of show prep. I don't never do show prep. I'm so good at this. Anyway. Please, I'm getting the show ready to share on social media. Remember the website, it is ngscsports.com, where you catch all of your current content. Log on to the website right now. Kind of updated it. Like to change it every now and then for y'all, so y'all see it differently. If you log on to the website, of course, this Friday, Saturday, high school football playoffs are still going around. Mike Draculich, our boy in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, of course, covering the Western Pennsylvania high school football playoffs. He also covers the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Pittsburgh Panthers for NGSC Sports. He had the Steelers-Ravens game day preview. Bradley Walker, of course, is our man down in Tampa. Bradley is in the middle of covering the story about the Tampa Bay Rays stadium that was torn up by one of the hurricanes down there. Helene, I believe it was. Rays are screwed. $55 million to fix it. Whew. So they're going to pay the Yankees $15 million to use their minor league facility in Tampa, which means we can keep covering. We're in hopes of covering hockey with the Tampa Bay Rays. So Bradley Walker gives us lightning hockey. Vasilevsky, fastest to 300 wins. That is the Tampa Bay goalie. And John Doucette, of course, is everywhere. Gives us the ACC basketball news and notes. Round ball is back. All that and more in ngscsports.com, where we never stop. Hey, first thing we want to do, as an old guy, I want to give a shout out to the old guy. Jordan doesn't know this. I think most of you don't know this. When I was living in New York City back in the days, my cousin Richard and I, we used to eat at a place called Dallas Barbecue, right off of West End Avenue in New York. I believe it was West End First Avenue. No, West End, excuse me. West End is Nashville, Tennessee. Please excuse me. I think it's First Avenue, I believe, but somewhere along there in Manhattan. We ate there all the time. And one day we took my cousin Ruben, and he was about maybe 10, 11, 12 years old at the time, maybe. And we sit down and we're eating, and in walks Mike Tyson with his trainer, Kevin Rooney. And of course, the whole place is a buzz. Oh, Mike Tyson. Me, I'm trying to play it off. I don't feel good about Mike Tyson, man. He's just a fighter, man. Nigga, he ain't shit, man. Mike Tyson, shit. You better pay attention. I had to go to the bathroom. Anyway, my cousin, we went to the bathroom. My little cousin, we go downstairs. So we come out the bathroom, Jay, and Mike Tyson's standing there. It's a true story, I swear. Mike Tyson asked me for a quarter for a payphone on my life. Mike Tyson asked me for a quarter. I don't think about it much, but he asked me for a quarter payphone. I was like, you got to ask for a quarter? You Mike Tyson, man. He got all this money. He said, yeah, I ain't got no cash on me, and I got to use the phone. You got a quarter. So I gave him a quarter. My cousin's like, oh, wow. So I said, Mike, what's up with that? He was just before the Mitch Green fight, Mitch Blood Green. I said, Mike, what's up with Mitch? What you going to do? He said, what's his nickname? I said, Blood. He said, I'm going to make him bleed. And sure enough, when the fight was over, Mitch Green went to the hospital. He was bleeding. Okay. Mike Tyson, of course, known as the baddest man on the planet. Former undisputed heavyweight champion who did things that was just, you didn't want to get hit by Mike. Right, left. You didn't even want him to breathe on you too hard. You were going to knock your ass out. Last night he fought Jake Paul, Jay. And I'm going to tell you something about Jake Paul. The boy's smart because he can't fight. He ain't no boxer. He ain't no boxer. But he made 40 million last night. 40 million. You got to give it to him, Jay. The old man, from one old man to at least he stood on his feet, man.
Yeah, I mean it was a fight. I'll say that it wasn't a great fight, but
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
even know if it was a fight, but yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
some
Yeah.
punches, some punches were thrown, you know.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, you know, he looked the best he could for being 58 years old, and you know the health scare he had, I believe, earlier.
Yeah, and he just had
Earlier
another one. He had another one not too long ago that
right,
postponed
right.
the fight.
And in terms of Jake Paul, I mean, yeah, he's not a great boxer, but he's very charismatic. You know, he knows how to get butts in seats. He knows how to draw.
Dude, he's a YouTuber. He's
Like you
a
said,
YouTuber. A YouTuber turned boxer. I can't take this boy seriously, but you can't help but take him seriously because he's making all kinds. This boy got so much money
yeah.
off of YouTube. I mean, he know how to fill a room. I mean, he just. I
I mean,
mean,
AT&T Stadium. I mean, that's a pretty damn big arena to fill. You know, I
and
mean,
that place was packed.
yeah,
Packed.
over 70,000 people. And
72 over 72,000 people, man. They packed that place, but they packed it. They packed it, and they found out that Jake Paul, Mike Tyson was not the main event last night.
it was not.
First of all, a shout out to Mario Barrios and Abelito Ramos. That was the second fight, the first fight that we got to see between two Mexican warriors. And them boys try to kill each other. And it looked like Barrios. The Barrios was so far ahead. I was watching it right here. I got up out the chair, went to the kitchen, and said, I'm gonna give me something to eat because your boy, he finna get his ass whooped. So by the time I come back, fight will be over. I missed 2 rounds on the unofficial scorecard. Barrios was winning 60-52, 8 points. I missed 2 rounds, 60-54. I mean, 62, whatever it was. I said, he trimmed it. Okay, he didn't trim it to 6. And then another round. And then he knocked out, he got a 10. What the heck? And all of a sudden, it was a fight. And it ended up a draw. And I was like, yo, this is good fight. That was a good fight. But me, because I'm a woman, man, I'm a woman's man, not the way y'all motherfuckers thinking out there. I've been watching boxing for about 55, 50, 5, 6 years old, 55, 56, 57 years. Oh, man, yo, Jay. Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano fought 2 years ago. Amanda Serrano, who has that style, boxing, straight boxing style, come at you and just keep coming at you and just keep coming. And that's how she was in that first fight with Katie Taylor. Kept coming. But Katie Taylor showed why. Because I was wondering. I seen some highlights, but I didn't see Kelly. I hadn't seen Katie fight. When I seen Katie fight in that first, I said, damn, that's why she's a champ. But last night, yo, my Boricua mommy wasn't having none of that last night, man. She pressed that girl all night.
Yeah.
But when that headbutt hit, it changed everything. And you see how bad that eye was, dude, man. It looked like, my wife said, how bad was it? I said, it looked like a giant came and just kind of like you
Ripped it
peel
apart.
a piece of an orange, and then you finally open it up. She was like, oh, what? Yeah. Yo, she ripped. Hey, that was a hell of a fight, Jack.
You know what? I would say it's one of the fights of the year, if not the fight of the year.
It's the fight of the year. It's the fight of the year. I want somebody to talk. And yet, and I posted it, the fight of the year ended up being the robbery of the year. She lost a point and still won. But it was a good night.
Yeah.
Plus, I was up 5 hours past my bedtime. Hold on. Thank God for my MetaQuest headset. You ain't got one of those, Jay?
No, but I got a question for you now that I thought of it. After the fight, I believe what was his name? Ariel Hawani was interviewing the guys in the ring, and Logan Paul was there, and he asked Logan Paul if he wanted to fight Mike Tyson, and he said, "I'm gonna kill Mike Tyson." Do you think we're gonna get a Logan Paul Mike Tyson fight?
Man, I might
We'll
need
see
to
him come
do.
out of retirement.
Might need to take that 20 million. It's cut. Take his ass home and be with his family. Now, look, some people will ask, and some people have suggested, like if the fix or some kind of fix was in, because you saw Mike come out that first 2 rounds. Mike had a little something in him, but after that, all he did was just
Yeah.
That's all he did. Jake Paul talking a little smack now today that he wanted to show respect for Mike and not knock him out. Be careful what you say. Although when he hit Mike, I was like, oh,
Right.
cause Mike shook.
Right. No, I think it was Roy Jones Jr. who was on commentary. Just he kept saying, Mike's kind of looking a little shaky. His legs aren't looking good. He's definitely something looks off. But it went all 8 rounds. It was the result that maybe some people expected, but Mike should probably kind of call it quits.
It was fun to see. One of the things I always say in podcasts and stuff, Jay, is I've been lucky. I've been so lucky in my lifetime as a sport fan to see some of the greatest. I have literally lived a sports dream by watching some of the greatest that have ever played, ever. Baseball, basketball, football, hockey, boxing, soccer. I go way back, Pele. Man, in the 70s, man, Pele was a magician. He was a magician. They looked at this like, what the hell? A human being can't do this in soccer. I mean, it's just lucky, real lucky. Anyway, this is an NBA show, y'all. This is an NBA show. And the NBA season has kicked off. It hasn't kicked off like some teams may have thought it was going to kick off. And it has kicked off for some teams like they didn't think it was going to kick off. I just said the same thing twice, but I meant it in 2 different ways. What do I mean? Well, Jay and I have been working on the show. We're going to be on the show some more. We're going to talk some NBA with y'all this year. And one of the things that we notice in the beginning of the season, and it happens in every season, there's always going to be that one team or 2 teams that surprise us. Nobody said it's going to last now, but they're going to surprise us, and they're going to win. It's a team that usually doesn't win. And then there's going to be some other surprises for teams that are supposed to win that aren't winning. But the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I know because as a Knicks fan, Jay, I damn sure wanted Donovan Mitchell to go to play in the Garden, right? And it didn't happen. It's like we didn't pull the right trigger on him. Cleveland did. So then we played Cleveland in the playoffs a couple of years ago, and now it's like, oh man, and I don't want to lose Donovan Mitchell. But for the last 2 years, though obviously Cleveland's a better basketball team with Donovan Mitchell on it, I didn't see what I was expecting sooner. Jay, I wasn't paying attention until I heard they was 10-0. So that I didn't even know they were undefeated till they were 10-0. That's how much I haven't been paying attention to the young season. The Cleveland Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell just scored 37 points and just put the Cavaliers at 14-0. I'm going to shut the hell up. I'm gonna run get some water. I can hear you. I'm just going right around the. But you seriously need to explain to me what the hell did I miss and what's going on in Cleveland.
I'm going to say what's going on in Cleveland is a lot of luck. You know, if you look at some of the teams they've played early on this season, a lot of injured teams, a lot of bottom tier teams, you know, played Milwaukee, played Philly, Toronto, Chicago. These aren't fully healthy teams. Yes, they've had a game or two against some healthy teams, but they're not top tier teams. You've seen what Milwaukee's done this season, Philly. It's a lot of luck so far. And I think that luck's about to run out when they play the Celtics twice in the next, I believe, 10 or so days. So this undefeated streak is going to come to an end. I'll tell you that. If you look at the team overall, it's really the same team as last year, just a different head coach. And big shout out to Kenny Atkinson. He's a great coach. He's done great for the Cavaliers so far. But as I mentioned in my article this week, they've drawn a lot of comparisons to the 2014-15 Atlanta Hawks. That team won 60 games and was eliminated early in the playoffs, I believe, by the Cavaliers, led by LeBron.
Right.
So, it's early in the season. They really haven't ran into any, top tier teams yet, but I don't think this dominant run is going to last.
Exactly. It's obviously not obviously, but it is the longest winning streak in Cavaliers history. They're one win away from the second best start in NBA history. They would tie the Washington Capitals, the 48-49 Washington Capitals, as well as the 93-94 Houston Rockets for a 15-0 start. Now, if they want the number one spot, you're going to have to do a lot of work because that would be the 2015-16 Golden State Warriors that won the first 24 games of the season. Yeah, Jack.
You do have to give them some credit, though. I will say this, early in the season, they've already kind of separated themselves from some of these other teams in the East. If you look at the standings, they're 14-0, but the third seed Orlando Magic is 8-6. They already have a 6-game lead over the third seed. So unless something terrible happens, Cleveland may finish as a top 2 seed this year, just by this strong start.
And excuse me, you said it best right there. Let's not get happy, folks. It's the beginning of the year. That's why we call it NBA surprises, because every year it's going to happen. The Cleveland Cavaliers are not going to win 14, 15 games, lose 2 games, win another 14, 15 games, lose 2 games. That's just not the way it works. Eventually, they'll cycle back to the league. We have other teams listed here. Golden State Warriors. Look, how many people, me included, said, Clay gone. So, automatically that takes a lot from Golden State. So I'm thinking, okay, 12 games into the season. What would if you asked me before the season started, a dozen games into the season, Ralph, what do you think Golden State Warriors record is going to be? I would have told you honestly, I don't even think they would have been 6-6. I didn't know. I might have said they would have been 4, I wouldn't be surprised if they were 4-8, 5-7, maybe 6-6. Now, that's not to take away from the fact, Jay, that almost sounds like I'm disrespecting Steph. You know what I'm saying? And I damn sure ain't trying to do that. But who did Steph, Draymond, Buddy Hield, Kuminga playing ball, Kyle Anderson acting like he could play some ball. What's up?
I say, you know what? They've been a genuine surprise so far this season. You mentioned Steph Curry, obviously one of the best point guards in NBA history. He's not a very, 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 he I would say, physically dominant guard. So his game is aging like fine wine right now. I mean, geez, I think the guy is 35, 36, and he looks like he could be an MVP candidate if he really wanted to, you know? And you mentioned, guys like Buddy Hield. The dude has been absolutely fantastic so far from three this season. He's pretty much taken that Klay Thompson spot coming off the bench.
That's what I was looking at, Jay. He just filled it in. He just filled it.
Exactly. Andrew Wiggins, he's kind of had a little bit of a bounce back season over the last couple of seasons. Really hasn't
I
been
still expect more from Wiggins. By now, Wiggins is a season. I want to see more from Wiggins. But you're right. He's contributing.
And then Kuminga, I think, is a very interesting case. You know, he was one of those players from the 2021 draft who didn't get a rookie extension. And, this is a make or break season for him. The vibes are kind of, will he stay with the Golden State Warriors? Will he get traded for a big trade midseason? And, he gets moved to the bench by Steve Kerr. It's kind of a surprising move, but he's thrived off the bench, so this is definitely a surprise. I don't know if they can keep it up, but I do think they will be a playoff contender if they can at least keep up, I would say maybe 80% of what they're at right now.
And for me, with Buddy Hield, when you watch Buddy Hield in college, that's who he was. That outside shot, he was a deadly 3-point shooter in college. I mean, he had range. He brought that range into the NBA, but he hasn't. For me, he never landed on the right team to take it back. But with Golden State, that's where he could let it fly in Golden State.
Exactly, and that's exactly what Steve Kerr's letting him do.
Here's another thing. If you would have asked me, Jack, hey, Rob, what you think about the Houston Rockets, man, coming into the season? Well, the first thing you're going to say about the Houston Rockets is they got young talent. Mm-hmm. The Rockets got young talent. Matter of fact, that's where I was getting ready to go. Give me a second because I want to make sure I bring up. So, in order to build in the draft, unfortunately, you have to be bad. You got to suck for a minute before you start building in the draft. And for the Houston Rockets, they've been bad for
a handful of years.
Yeah, they've been bad for a good hot sec. And that has allowed them to make picks, to make moves. And when I look, I got it up now, and I wanted to go a certain way. So, I'll start with the character. Dylan Brooks, bounce around the NBA, but the guy seems to be like this spark plug. He seems to be able to push buttons around his teammates. I don't know. This is just me, like that energy, a piece of energy that the team needs. We know. Then I look at Jalen Green. The young kid, highly talented kid out of college, wanted to see what he could do. Let's see how good he's going to be in. The boy's an NBA player, y'all. And here's the scary part: Jalen Green don't even know how to play basketball in the NBA yet. He don't even know how to play in the NBA yet. Wait till that boy learn how to play in the NBA. Then I look and I say, who else we got here?
You got baby Jokic.
Who?
Alperen Şengün.
No, that's what I'm saying. Oh, yeah, yo, what's up with him? Yo, hold up. Where did this boy come from? Hold up. I'm clicking on him because I need to know. Third season from where? Where the hell he came from? I mean, he ain't got no college here. Where'd he come from?
I don't remember.
I'm looking. I'm just trying to see because I don't even know who he is, and he balling his ass off, man. Every time I look at the stats or I look at a story on the Rockets, this guy again, I can't even say his name right.
Yeah, that, and then you got Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, Amin Thompson, but Yeah, no, the Houston Rockets have been a genuine surprise this season. I think when you saw them finish right outside the play-in at the end of last season, we expected them to take a little bit of a leap. We thought they would be, maybe maybe that 7-8 spot, maybe 9 in worst
Right.
case scenario. But they have come out of the gate hot, and it's definitely a surprise. I think my biggest concern is will they keep this core together? I know that both Green and Sengun just got rookie extensions, but are they a good duo together? Is the question.
Yeah, and that's always, I hate that about sports. When somebody, what you just brought up, is that, let's just hope that they can keep the core together. I grew up in a day, Jay, where we didn't have to worry about that.
Mhm.
We didn't have to worry about that. My New York Mets, the New York Yankees, I hated the Giants, the Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, the San Diego Chargers. I don't care who it was. You knew who the roster was, and the
Right.
next year, who the same guy coming back every year. Now, and you're right. You got to hope that as you build something, it's not just building it. You already got to start planning. How the hell do we keep it?
Right. And there have been rumors that the Rockets could be one of these teams looking to make a big trade this season. I know names like Jimmy Butler were kind of mentioned, Kevin Durant. Um, I think maybe even Giannis was pitched as a potential target. But obviously, if you're going to trade for one of those guys or attempt to, one of those young stars is going to have to go in that trade.
I know that. I hate that. Man, you know that they're not gonna ask. They're gonna demand one of them young
Right.
boys.
Right.
Demand. So, but it's nice to see. It's nice to hear. I lived in Houston for 3 years. That they were no good. I watched the Rocket fans be faithful, and it's nice to know that I can close my eyes and look at that building, and those people are outside going in happy, man, saying, "Hey, we got a basketball team." Let me tell you who ain't happy. Me. Let me tell you why I ain't happy. One of the things that don't make me happy, Jay, that don't make me happy is when a team spends money and we know that we'll talk about it in a segment later. Just because you spend money, just because you draft play, just because it has to work out. It's not all just going to gel real quick. I watched Joel Embiid average like 37 freaking points against my Knicks last year in the playoffs on one leg. One leg. Look, I got so much respect for that man. I don't even when they say he injured, I know. But look, man, I love watching Joel Embiid because he every minute he played like it's the last minute of his life, and that's why he get hurt. Because he's a big guy. Big guys get hurt. Then the 76ers come out and they win the Paul George sweepstakes. Now it's Maxey, Embiid, and George. When I come at you, Jay, no games played. We talked about it already. But when I come at you, Jay, and I say, yo, Jay, I got a squad. And my top three on my squad is Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George. Huh? Tell me I ain't got a squad. Tell me I ain't got a squad, Jay. I got a squad, right? I got a squad.
They're contenders.
That squad is 2-10 right now. What in the is going on?
You know what? It starts with Embiid, obviously.
And this back to back shit.
Yeah, misses the first handful of games. There's a lot of speculation what's going on with the reporting from like the staff and coaching and everything. They get fined. You have Embiid shove a reporter, and the reporter was clearly wrong in what he had written about Embiid. Both his son and his brother who passed away, definitely uncalled for. But he serves the suspension, all that, comes back. I mean, he looks like Embiid, but then you have Paul George, We saw the hyperextension, I believe, in the preseason. Looked pretty bad. Justifiable that he's been out. And then poor Tyrese Maxey had to lead the team early on. He's a scorer, but he's not a leader of this team yet. He's definitely the number 2, you would say, but he suffered that injury. I believe it was a hamstring injury as well, and they haven't played a game together yet this season, and they're already 14th in the East. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard time getting even into playing contention at this point.
It's going to be a hard climb because the other team we got here listed is also in the East, the Milwaukee Bucks. And I know, Jay, you're thinking the same thing. How are you a few years, just a couple of years removed from what a season that was? What Giannis and Milwaukee did that year, and they were that was the first time I felt back in the day when the Bulls were winning the championships. They did the train, the Bulls freight train. They had the big. I don't know I know you're young enough, but if you remember, if you don't, posters, commercials, all kinds of slogans with the big train. And when the Chicago Bulls freight train would come in your neighborhood, it was coming through and it was taking everything with it. And that's how I felt when I saw Giannis and the Bucks win that year. And I said, yo, they're going to win. They going to win a couple. They're going to win. The Giannis-led Milwaukee Bucks suck. Oh, I forgot. Wait, who else plays on that team?
Dame time.
What? Okay, so of all the things we don't talk about here in a few minutes, Jay, here's my Dame and Giannis on the same team. When I know Dame didn't want to go to Milwaukee, but when he landed in Milwaukee, I said, yo, with Giannis, that's it? They ain't done shit.
No, they haven't. You look at last season, they had the 30-13 start, fire Adrian Griffin, bring in Doc Rivers. Doc has a horrible start as coach, early playoff exit, and this season it just looks worse for the most part. Giannis and Dame both look good so far this season, but they have no help. Chris Middleton hasn't even debuted for the team yet this season.
He's done. He's done.
Yeah, you got Brook Lopez on the other side of 30.
Yeah.
I mean, he's maybe got a couple seasons left. He's not looking good. Gary Trent Jr., you thought he was going to be your kind of marquee free agent signing. Nothing. He's disappointed so far this season.
Nothing.
And you got Bobby Portis. That might be your one trade chip that you have, other than obviously Giannis and Dame. But this all goes back to Giannis. You trade for Drew Holiday back in 2021 or before the season, win the championship, then you trade him for Dame. You lose kind of your key defender there. Kind of, your defense was built around him, and you have no defense, And honestly, I don't know how they improve this season, and it's going to be very ugly the next 2 months because exactly what the headlines are going to be between now and early February. Is Giannis going to request a trade?
And of course, as we will cover later on in our segment around the NBA, that's going to come down to Giannis and what's going to happen. And then I think but we're not going to go there yet. We're going to go there in a little while. But that's the surprises, man. That's the surprises around the NBA. And then a lot of surprises. Like I said, for me, it's not so much, that Cleveland is so good because they're supposed to be as good. Because when you look at the Cleveland line, they did every move was out the other night. And it didn't even faze them. But I didn't see it. 14-0. I didn't see this. And then you gotta appreciate the Golden State Warriors. It also shows that it looks like Steve Kerr is a good coach, man.
They're not done yet.
No.
A lot of people wanted to compare Steph to Tom Brady. Wins the championships with the Patriots, goes to the Buccaneers. He still looks great. Wins the Super Bowl with the Buccaneers, but will he do it? Who knows?
We're gonna find out. All right, we got a little segment right here. Jay likes to hit the papers. He likes to get the data and stuff. I don't do that stuff anymore. So I'm just so happy. I'm so happy to have Jordan Rhea to do the homework, and he's going to give us tonight a little lesson in class and tell us about the early injuries hit in the
Listen,
NBA.
aside from the surprises so far this season, the injury bug has been horrendous. I mean, there are countless stars, superstars that are out, and I just kind of want to take a look at some of them. Let's start with Kristaps Porzingis. Hasn't debuted for the Celtics yet, but had that weird kind of injury in the finals. You can kind of see Boston. They're not struggling, but you can definitely tell they're missing Porzingis early on.
Dude, I forgot all about the unicorn. I forgot about Chris.
You know what? They're 10-3, I believe.
10-3 without him. If they ever get him healthy,
right. Another one personal to me, I'd like to say, Lonzo Ball. 1,000 days out, returns in the preseason after missing 2 full seasons. I believe he suffered I think it was a grade 2 wrist sprain.
Yep.
He had a good start to the season. Expectations weren't super high, but he's looking close to that Lonzo Ball, we all know and love. In Denver, Aaron Gordon, probably, that third or fourth most important player. I believe calf injury, multiple weeks he's expected to be out. You're kind of seeing, obviously, Jokic do Jokic things. So definitely having to pick up without Aaron Gordon in there. Kawhi Leonard. I don't know if you've seen the news, Ralph, just that entire situation. It's a mess. Talking about I think it was the trainer or whoever it was kind of revealing that the Clippers basically wanted Kawhi to play through these injuries. And you've seen how it's affected him. I mean, the dude's gets injured once or twice a season, misses the playoffs, gets injured in the playoffs, and there's no exact timetable for his return. And looking at the Clippers, it's kind of surprising they are where they are without him, but I think we're starting to see that last ride for Kawhi. I would say I don't see him being.
It's so crazy because I just want to talk real quick about Ball and Kawhi. Mm-hmm. Ball, again coming in with such hype, and players cannot help. Athletes can't help injuries. There's certain injuries you just can't. Like there are players who get hammies all the time. It's like no matter what the hell they do, it just certain players. Like we talk baseball on the baseball show at the beginning of the season, we call it hammy time because somewhere in February, in March, rather April, it's hammy time. People are gonna start getting hammies, and they just. But so you can't help certain things. But poor Lonzo Ball. I mean, this boy, he can't catch a break. It's not like he didn't even get a chance to start his career. He just got hurt, like boom, and he's never been. And Kawhi, man, it's so sad because you saw what Kawhi was doing in Toronto, and then winning that NBA championship in Toronto. What he had already done in San Antonio. So you were like, yo, man, we watching potential greatness here because just one of them quiet brothers, he don't make a lot of noise, but damn, can he hoop? And all of a sudden, Jay, he got hurt, and damn.
Right. I mean, if you look at Kawhi, I mean, he is one of the best two-way players the league has ever seen. And you mentioned the San Antonio stuff. He was able to come back from that, wins the championship in Toronto, but just this tenure with the Clippers, I mean, you've seen so much taken out of Kawhi. And, I mean, on the offensive end, I mean, he still looks great. He can average 20, 25 a night, but it's just like.
But you're right. You could feel like something's been taken, like something's been sucked out of him.
He's not the same Kawhi. He's a fraction of what he was before.
I would fear him. When I saw him with the basketball on TV, I would fear him back then because he could do anything he wanted to. And my thing with Kawhi was, again, we talking about a guy who there was no showboat. He don't no showboat, none of this fancy shit. Kawhi just went to work on your ass and just scored 25, 30 points and just that 6 steals. You couldn't beat him on either end of the floor. And man, and I feel for him, Jay, because it's people like that could have had. We're gonna talk later, 5, 10 years from now, and bring up the name of Kawhi Leonard in a segment called "What Could Have Been." What could have been? It's hard. It's hard. And Ball is just like, I just want the boy to get a chance to play.
Right. I mean, you saw how great Chicago looked at the first half of that, 21, 22.
Yeah.
And you saw flashes of it in the preseason, just kind of.
I love him watching. I went out of my way to watch one of those just to watch him play.
Right. You saw how good, Zach LaVine looked with him, how good Vucevic looked with him. And then it's just like, you lose him. You don't know exactly when he's going to come back, but it's like.
And when he comes back, like you said, same thing with Kawhi. Now, when Ball and Kawhi come back, the only question is when they're going to get hurt again.
Exactly. Looking at some of these other injuries, the Bucks, we mentioned in the last segment, Dame with a concussion, Chris Middleton. Nobody knows if Chris Middleton's even coming back at this point, and I don't think it would make an impact on the Bucks, even if he does return. You don't know what to get out of. Yeah,
I really think for Middleton, it's like it's quickly gone downhill for him.
And then we start to get into some of these contenders. Chet Holmgren, the hip fracture, that was brutal.
It was, man. Damn.
Just looking at them right now, they're still missing Isaiah Hartenstein. He hasn't debuted yet either. I believe he had a fractured hand.
Mm-hmm.
Had surgery on before the season. They have no true center. They had I think it was maybe Shea playing center before, and I think the stat was like the tallest player in their lineup was like 6'6" maybe, but they're making it work. But they desperately need a center.
Yeah, but going with what you said right there, look at what they're missing. They're missing. And first of all, you're missing Chet. You're missing Chet Holmgren. You're already missing enough just with Chet not being there.
And that's 8 to 10 weeks before he's even reevaluated.
Right. And then again, Isaiah Hartenstein hadn't even had a chance to play. Right. And they want this boy down there. They listen, I'm saying this with respect when I say that white boy can hoop.
Exactly. And they are at the top of the West.
It's the top, 11-2 at the top. That's what I was going to say. They're at the top of the West, even though with going through that, they're at the top of the West.
Exactly. So we'll see where they are come January before he gets reevaluated. But, another big one, the Orlando Magic and Paolo Banchero.
Oh,
he had a hot start to the season, and then he tears his oblique, But they've kept up. The Orlando Magic are the 3rd seed right now. I believe they're on I think it was a 5-game win streak. Are they going to keep up with it? I don't think so. But, obviously losing Banchero will be a big hit. But if they can keep up until he comes back, they should be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah. We got a comment, Jay. My boy Mike Bird Munger. What's on, Mikey? How's the family? How the boys, man? I love what you and the boys are doing. I love what your boys are doing, man. Keep on them. I love it. Mike says, my man, these days, these modern day players, rather, with all the modern medicine and training, all so soft and easily injured. Mike Bird Munger, a mother man, okay? I go crazy with this, Mike. I know you did. I grew up in a time. I grew up in. You couldn't pull a pitcher off a mound. You better take a shotgun out there to try to pull a pitcher off the mound. Jim Hacksaw Reynolds played defense for the Los Angeles Rams. He went in the locker room with a broken leg. He had a broken leg. And so they was gonna, take him, I don't know, doctor, hospital, whatever. And he looked at somebody and paraphrased and basically said, "One of you mother better fix me because I'm going back out on that field." And he went back out on that field. Now it was a fracture. It wasn't a full break. It was a fracture, but it's still a fracture, and it's football. You blow on a guy too hard today, and he's on the IR for 3 weeks.
Right. And you know what? I think it's time to admit that load management, it doesn't help.
Oh,
It doesn't work.
dude, please. As a matter of fact, we need to have a rule, man. I can't make the rule because we're going to have to use that phrase. I wish I could make a rule that we can't use that phrase on the show because who the hell came up with that shit? What load management?
You know what? I think it's really only had one successful, use, and that would be Kawhi in that season with the Raptors.
Okay, and it was an abnormality of a guy who just somehow. But when Joel Embiid, and you know something, if you're gonna say something, if you don't mean something, do yourself a favor, don't say it. But when Joel Embiid comes out and say, "Well, I'm not playing back to backs," first of all, brother, people paying too much money to watch you play. And even if that's the case, so you could be preserved, you need to keep that shit between you and management. Don't express that to the public because we don't want to hear that as NBA fans. It's just crazy with this load management. It's like, yo, you getting paid to, but yo, Jay, Mike tells us, yeah, Popovich is the one to blame for that load management shit. You're right. You're right. He started it.
He's right. He's right.
He started.
Obviously,
And he did it with his team. He didn't just do it for players. He did it with his team.
right. At least with the Spurs, you saw that success for the most part. Obviously, Duncan, Manu, Tony Parker, Kawhi, but
that's what covers it though. Because I like what Mike pointed out. Because what covered it for San Antonio is they were winning championships.
Exactly.
Mike says Larry Bird's last season, his back was so bad he was in traction all day before each game. Still came out to play an average. Yo, I saw the post the other day. Sean Kemp reminding everybody in a game where Larry Bird goes up to him and tells him, "Hey, you guy broke all my scoring records in college, huh? Yeah. You guys dunked on my brother too, right? Yeah." And Sean Kemp was like, "Yeah, I was telling him, that's right. Broke your scoring records, man. Embarrass your brother. What?" Larry Bird looked at him and said, "I got something for you tonight." Whew. Bird played 3 quarters. He scored 40 points, had 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 steals, 3 blocks, a partridge, and the pear tree. In the meantime, Sean Kemp had 5 points, 1 rebound, and 6 turnovers. I didn't tell you about Larry Bird and the things he did to people, but yeah, that was a great example. That was a great example, Mike. Because yeah, you wouldn't. And remember, Mike, Larry Bird was laid out on the floor every game. He couldn't even sit on the bench. He had to lay on the floor. But when it was time to come in, you got some more injuries?
Just a couple more. I think, obviously mentioned Tyrese Maxey with the hamstring.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant with the calf strain. He's expected out at least through the end of the month, but Phoenix is kind of managing without him right now. The Raptors, the Raptors are a team in the NBA. They don't play like an NBA team right now.
No, they're not playing much like
Scotty Barnes has an orbital fracture. Emmanuel Quickly with a ligament tear. They're done. Their season's done. But
it's a couple of college teams. There's a couple of college teams right now that can beat the Raptors. It's pretty bad in Toronto. But you were talking about the Phoenix Suns. And as I take us off of this injury list before we go on next one, again, if I say the names to you, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. And why am I forgetting your boy name?
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker. Damn. That's a nice squad. Yes, they are sitting at 9-4 now. But you know what it is, Jay? I still don't think that. Remember, they didn't play together a lot when they first started.
Right.
So I'm still waiting. Maybe it's now, but I'm still waiting for these three guys to gel and do something in Phoenix. Because it's kind of hard for me to think that you're going to have Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal on the same damn team and can't make a deep playoff run.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hold on. Mike says what? Even if I praise the guy I hated, Isaiah Thomas went off in the finals against LA on one of the worst sprained ankles ever. If that's LeBron, Kawhi, or Harden, they quit on the spot. Yo, Mike, you need to stop. You need to stop right now. I'm ordering you to stop right now because you are too spot on for me tonight. I would never. Jay, you didn't get to see that. Did you see the highlights?
You're talking about Isaiah Thomas?
You got to check the highlights. Google Isaiah Thomas sprained ankle NBA final. Yo, what he score? Mike, 25 points in the third quarter. In the third quarter, he couldn't even. He was limping. He couldn't run. He would limp. This boy had no ankle, and he went off on the third quarter. I believe it was the third quarter, Mike. Yeah. Oh, Mike, you need to quit, man. You need to get off my show, Mike, because you too good tonight. Ooh, that was good. That was good. But I want to see how this progress. Because Kevin Durant, for me, like, I'm not a fan of this team to team. Man, pick your team, get drafted by your damn team, and stay with the damn team, okay? Unless the team blows up and shit happens. But other than that, stop moving around. Because for me, Kevin Durant ain't won his own NBA championship yet.
Yeah, no, I think if look, kind of like what you mentioned with Kawhi earlier, you look at Kevin Durant 5-10 years from now, you can say, yeah, he was a great player, but was he one of the greatest?
Yeah, you can't give it to him because he couldn't last. He couldn't stay healthy. With Kevin Durant, I just want to see Kevin Durant win a championship. Like, if he wins it in Phoenix, for me, I'll say, okay, Kevin Durant won himself a championship. I'm not taking away from his championships in Golden State. But, man.
No, but you had,
Steph and Clay, Draymond. What do you think you were supposed to win?
You're adding to an unstoppable team already. Make it more unstoppable.
Right. So you were supposed to. So, and that brings us to a great topic that Jay come up with. NBA disparity. One of the things that makes sports so much fun is when there's parity. You're always going to have the powerhouses in a league. Like college football going to have the SEC. It's just going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Mike tells us KD's a sucker like LeBron. Tuck a tail and run away from adversity to win titles. AAU culture ruining the NBA. Mike Birdmonger, you are fired. You just too dead on. You are fired. Again, true, because again, you're right. And I remember back in the days when Shaq couldn't play for a stomach ache. I don't believe that. Somebody said it was a stomach ache, but I hope not. But NBA disparity is real bad, Jay. So when I look at the standings right now, I look at the number 10 seed in the East in the Brooklyn Nets at 5-8. And I go straight to the number 10 seed, and it's a little better here. Because I just realized number 10 seed in the West is the LA Clippers at 6-7. Wasn't this parity a whole lot? Oh, it's at the top where the parity goes. Because the Knicks are 6-6 as the 4 seed. And 6-6, holy crap, 6-6 would give you the 10 seed in the West.
Yeah, I think this is something that's been overlooked for probably 20 plus years now. the West has always been the more dominant conference, obviously. You have your more, I would say, desirable destinations in terms of teams.
Mm-hmm.
Your Lakers, your Spurs. You can mention the Warriors, the Suns,
Oh yeah.
but then you go to the East. Yeah, you have New York, you have Boston. That's kind of
About it.
right,
About it.
about it,
About
And we're really seeing it early this season, just how bad the Eastern Conference is. And as we mentioned earlier, teams like Milwaukee are supposed to be good. Philly's supposed to be good, but they're at the bottom of the standings too.
Yeah.
And then the Magic. Yeah, they're a young team on the rise, but they're not going to win a championship in the next year or two.
No.
You know,
And with
Cleveland.
a couple of more wins, they would have made our surprise list. With a couple more wins.
Exactly. But, just kind of, looking at all the standings, like you mentioned, the West is far superior to the East, and just, I don't know if there's a way that this can be fixed, whether it's, future expansion, maybe moving a team or two from the West to the East. But, the East is just less desirable at this point, other than the contenders, the true contenders.
And my problem with disparity is when you start looking. First of all, for me, you got too many damn teams make playoffs. There's too many teams make playoffs. I'm a firm believer that I don't care if you got a league with 30 teams. If you got 4 divisions, then I'm only letting in the 4 division winners and maybe 2 wild cards.
Yeah.
I'm not letting 10 teams in no damn playoff just so I can have all the tournaments up. Because the problem with that is I look over here, Jay. Yeah, it's early. It's early. So let's not get excited because it is early. But when you look, and I look at that block of that 7 to 10 block in each conference. Now, almost similar, but 6 and 8, 5 and 7, 5 and 7, 5 and 8 for the East. 7 and 6, 7 and 6, 7 and 6, 6 and 7 in the West. If I'm a fan of any of these teams, and it's just me, I don't find joy if this is nearing the end of the season. I don't find no joy saying my team is the number 9 seed with a, say, 39 and 37 record. I don't find a 37 and 39 record. 30, I don't find no joy in that. It's too much disparity from the good to the middle ground. You see, you can start to fix the parity issues by getting rid of the draft lottery. Let the worst team get the best incoming franchise player, and also the play-in nonsense could go to Mike. Didn't I just fire your ass, Mike?
You know what? If it went that way, Detroit would be 82-0 every season. You'd have Wembanyama, Cooper Flag, Paulo Banchero.
And people say that, Mike. See, one of the things, that's why, I'm with you, Mike. I'm old school. Just let the worst team. But then they started all that tanking shit. And people need some kind of incentive not to tank. I hate tanking. Don't tank for the pick.
You know what?
How could you not do it, Jay, if you're in that position, though?
Even with Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, all that, the Pistons are still awful. No offense to them, but they're still awful.
Yeah, they're still bad.
But
they are. How bad are the Pistons, by the way?
Well, I mean, they're 6 and 8 so far this season. But they're on a much better pace than they were last season, but it's also early in the season.
But it isn't like the picks are translating into what you expected them to translate into.
Right. There's no guarantee the number 1 will be a superstar.
No. And by the way, speaking of number 1 picks, this was a terrible draft. This past draft. Yo, what is his name? Alexander Sarr?
Yeah, Alex Sarr, yeah. Horrible.
Yo, Alex Sarr got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Zachary Reese looked decent in Atlanta, and Zach Edey may run away with Rookie of the Year, but you don't have much competition, really.
Man. But but again, the disparity thing, it's really bad because it makes for boring sports, man. It really makes for boring sports. Mike said the lottery was supposed to stop tanking, but it still happens. And you know what, Mike? Again, yes, And exactly, they can't find a foolproof way. And you have to, because think about this, guys. Look at the blow up, the absolute eruption now of women's sports in general, and in this case, the WNBA, NCAA women's basketball from the last 2 years, and the WNBA. I had a guy ask me on Facebook, "Hey, wait a minute, what are you trying to tell me? Are you? I know you ain't trying to tell me that you prefer the WNBA over the NBA." All day, every day, any day. For me, the NBA has become like theater, a show, a sport within a show, because everybody has a role to play. And it's like, can't we just play ball? Can't you just play ball? And this is what we have now. And you brought up some great point, Mike, because you're right. Lottery was supposed to top all this shit, Jay, and now people are tanking for lottery picks.
Right. I mean,
How you can't, I don't see a way to fix it. How do you? I don't see how you fix it.
I don't think you can. I mean,
and we got a lot of people. We got a lot of people with us watching. Y'all can help us out there. You got comments like Mike is commenting, man. Y'all want to help us out here? Give us some comments. Tell me I'm stupid. I don't see something, because I don't see how. Especially also, I don't know how you feel, Mike and Jay. Especially with these guys that jump to form these super teams, right? And you see, and it's not really working. It's not
right.
It's not really working.
I think the new CBA has begun to help with that. You know, obviously, penalizing these teams that are spending all this money. You know, your Phoenixes, for example, the Golden State Warriors, if they kept
the aprons. You're talking about the aprons.
Yeah, the first and second apron. You know, that's starting to help. You're seeing teams like the Nuggets, for example. You kind of have your superstar, your 1B, I would say, kind of like Jamal Murray, and then a solid core around them. But even the Nuggets are kind of in the same situation where they can't do anything because they gave Michael Porter Jr. A max contract, and he's not living up to that. So I think, at least with the big three kind of era, I think we're kind of seeing our way out of that.
You need to get a list of words and phrases that we shouldn't be allowed to use on this show, because I got another one for you. We have to use it. We don't have a choice, but I'd rather not use it. Max contract. I'm so tired of this. First of all, again, I come from a time when I grew up. One of the first stories my daddy told me was about Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle. If you know sports, I don't have to tell you who Mickey Mantle is. I just don't. And Mickey Mantle finished the season. I don't remember what season it was, but he finished that season playing worse than he did the previous season. So the next season, he goes to call him up to the office and goes, "Mickey, take a pay cut." What? I mean, take a pay cut? What are you talking about taking a pay cut? Yeah, you had a bad year. So you're going to get a pay cut. And he played. You try that shit now. What? They paying guys. You have one good year, and they want to give this guy 10 years worth of money. Well, guess what, Jay? I'm sitting in this chair, right? And you come up with some idea, and you got some sponsors for the show, right? And now I'm a big boss. I'm getting paid. Oh, shit, man. You know what I'm going to do, Jay? You can talk, bro. I'm just going to chill.
You know, I'm telling you, when it comes to those contracts, there are a handful of players in the league who truly deserve them.
True. That's it. You
know, your Stephs, your Jokic, LeBron, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Tatum, Brown. And then you got these guys, like I mentioned, Michael Porter Jr. gets this max contract, but he's barely playing like a good role player right now. And that's hampering the Denver Nuggets. You know, So I get it. Money's coming in. You got your new media rights deals. Contracts are going to go up, but it's doing more damage in the long term for
Yep,
these
yep,
teams,
yep,
and
yep.
that's something that we change it.
And Mike hits it out the park again. He said, "Great point, my brother. These days you have guys like Scotty Barnes and Jalen Brunson getting max deals, guys who are barely all stars." And I like that you brought that up, Mike, because I'm a Knicks fan. And we love our new king of New York, Jalen Brunson. But you're right. I got a problem as a Knicks fan. Yes. What has Jalen Brunson done for me lately as a Knicks fan? That's a stupid question because he's done a whole lot as a Knick.
You do have to give him some credit, though. He did take a big pay cut. That
No. And you're right. No. And I like that, Jay. Great point. He did take the pick. But damn, why do I have to give you 150 freaking $1 million because you had one incredible year, by the way. One incredible year. Now I gotta give you $150 million. Why? Why you can't work for me for like 3-4 years and let me see you build and let's get all these guys around us to build something special. And then you know what I'm gonna do? I pay all of y'all. I pay you all. But Juan Soto in baseball for the Yankees, he's gonna get a contract now in the neighborhood of $500-600 million. I don't care who you are. You don't get $500-600 million. You're a Knicks fan. You got to remember when Isaiah Thomas had Jerome James, an insane deal back in the day. Yep, because he had one decent playoff series. Mike, you don't get the hell off my damn show, boy. You too good tonight. That was a heartbreaker right there. You just broke me. You're right. It's stupid stuff like that. And what happens? The topic that we're talking about right now, NBA disparity. Why? I'm an NBA player, Jay. I'm going where they're going to pay me. You're not going to pay me. I'm going to go play with the Celtics. I'm going to play with the Knicks. I'm going to go play, with the Lakers. Yeah.
and then you know what? Those contracts are going to come back to bite you at some point. I mean, look at what Boston is going to have to do in a couple seasons.
It's just crazy, which takes us basically into our next topic because we're doing it already. And we're going to do this one on a regular basis. This is as we close our final 30 minutes of the show. We'll start with around the NBA to cover the topics and all the things that we haven't talked about in our segments. For example, I'm a Knicks fan. And when I look at my New York Knicks, and I've wanted Colin, I've wanted Cat in New York for a minute. And finally to wake up to say, yo, we got Cat, and we got Anunoby, and we got Josh Hart is like a triple double waiting every single night. And when I saw Hart, I want Hart to play. I want him to play a lot, and shows in his stat. And Jalen Brunson, like I said, even though I'm with Mike, I'm don't pay the boy that much money. You can't take away. And he ain't even really clicked yet. Karl Anthony Towns having a good season, and yet the New York Knicks are 6-6. They're 6-6. And then you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, where you're like, they got Anthony Davis, they got LeBron James. First of all, people, hold on. Bow down to something greater than yourself, Trick. Oh, LeBron James, man. Can we give some serious props? 4 straight triple double. Did this guy forget how old he is?
Yeah, I mean, love him or hate him, you have to give him respect for the impact he's had on the game and what he's doing. As the first
Man.
player in the league, I mean, he could still compete at that level. He's taken a little step back, but at the same time, 80s kind of shifted a little more into that number one role. And, you really have to give just massive credit to JJ Redick.
I don't want to. But I don't want to because it's early. But I feel you where you're coming from on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even they're 8-4. Currently on a 4-game win streak, but JJ Redick has definitely made Anthony Davis the Lakers' offensive hub.
It, it looks like Reddick, like the atmosphere, the mood is different with him next.
It is very different from Darvin Ham's
Yes.
tenure.
Mike says, bro, Cat has talent, but he's not built for New York City, mentally or physically. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you on that one. That motherfucker better be, because he's there now.
Let me ask you a question, Ralph.
Uh-huh.
How do you feel about the Big Bodega as a nickname for Cat?
Well, I like it only, number one, because yo soy boricua puertorriqueño, papi. I grew up in the bodega. So, yeah, I like that. Big bodega. Yeah, I like that.
All right.
I do. I really do. Mike said, oh, man, do I need to bring up the fact that LeBron has been on PEDs for a long time? Look, we see like Barry Bonds. He taught us when their heads start to get bigger, pay attention. You got to do what you can to get by. And until they find him sticking himself in his ass, well, but yeah, Mike.
On that topic of the Lakers, I know you and I had talked about this earlier. Just the Bronny James situation just continues to just become, I would say, more amusing.
He's only going to play home games?
I find that very comical.
Who the fuck is he? Where he gets to stay home while the rest of us stay. And by the way, you're right. We've talked about this. My biggest issue with the Bronny James situation is how much this is hampering Bronny James. Number one, well, you should have never gone. It should never been drafted by a team that your daddy plays on. Even if your daddy's name was just Bill Wilson, you should not have gone to play with him. Your daddy is LeBron James.
Right.
This was a whole stunt. And now he's where he belongs, but then you're going to tell me, oh, but he's going to stay in L.A., and we're going to switch him from the team to the G League. How is it that LeBron can't see? This is just me, man. That's not a good look. And it's not a good look.
No. And every time a story comes out, it's just, what's next? I saw something the other day. He said he might play another year or two to wait for Bryce. And it's just like, you really want to do this again? Do you really want to go through all of this again? Right.
Brownie isn't even good enough to the G League. He's open, but Mike, the boy can't hoop. The boy can't hoop. Now, he whooped my ass, even in my best days. I'm just saying, know your place. And Bronny James's place ain't the NBA, and they don't even know if it's the G League.
Right.
Because he ain't doing too much down there either. I know. And like I said, forget the fact of stats. And that kid is under this microscope. Yeah. He can't. How is he ever going to win at anything? It's Daddy LeBron James, and it'd be different. Like, for example, congratulations to Carmelo Anthony, the Anthony family, on his son, Keon Anthony, deciding to follow in his daddy's footsteps and go play at Syracuse. For those of you that don't know this, the Keon Anthony can hoop. The boy can flat out hoop. He ain't going to have to worry about his daddy. Now, his daddy's name will carry him because his daddy's Carmelo Anthony. But he ain't going to have to worry about that. When Keon Anthony gets to the NBA, he going to be NBA ready.
Right.
Bronny ain't played no ball to get NBA ready, and he's being treated like NBA royalty.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough watch. Just seeing it on the court, off the court, it's a spectacle at the end of the day.
It's a spectacle. It's a show, and they were talking about. He was talking to somebody in an interview about, yeah, this is really special, and I really feel that we have something special here, and that we can win a championship here again in LA. And again, no disrespect, but at that moment, I couldn't help it. My first thought was, a father was, boy, if you don't shut your ass up, take your ass in the room and sit down and wait for me to come in there. What are you talking about? You ain't done nothing here to be talking about no champion. Your daddy can't win a championship here. What the hell you think you gonna do? And no, I don't count 2020 people. I just don't. But come on. Again, my problem is, I think it's, if the kid has any chance to be a player, man, I think it's hurting him, Jack. It's hurting him.
The only chance for true growth is on a team where his father's not playing. But
I just,
we'll see what happens.
Like you said, it's such a spectacle. Sometimes it's like almost embarrassing. Like, I don't want to look at it, because it's like, LeBron, do you not understand what the potential damage that you could be doing to your kid? I wish him luck on that, man. I swear I wish him luck, because I just don't know how to fit. Anyway, Denver Nuggets, man. First of all, look, the Joker is no joke. Yo, like, I don't know if they're gonna win another title, but Joker makes 29 points, 16 rebounds, and 14 assists look like a cup of coffee. Like, he ain't doing shit.
He is a generational talent that nobody expected to be a generational talent. And you just look at what he does. If you look at him, you wouldn't point at him and say, hey, that's an MVP right there. That's a champion.
That's a baller, right? You don't even look at him and say he's a baller.
Right. And he's unstoppable, but you don't have a championship team built around him.
No, that's the thing. A guy like him deserves to have a team around. Could you imagine Joker? We could pick 3 teams right now. Mm-hmm. Even if you took Joker to LA and put Joker on the Lakers, you could start talking about a championship now. If you grab the Joker and you put him in Oklahoma City, you're gonna talk a championship. If you take the Joker and put him in any one of these teams and see what it's so crazy to watch this boy.
It just kind of goes back to poor ownership. They don't want to go into the luxury tax. They don't want to spend all this money.
Yeah.
Got to do something, but you're stuck. Like I mentioned earlier, Michael Porter Jr., that contract.
There it is. Jokic killed the false narrative about players needing to be or being more athletic in the modern NBA to be great, which goes back to Larry Bird. Couldn't jump, couldn't run. Let me tell you folks who don't understand something. Larry Bird will come into the gym, to a game rather, and would tell the other team, listen, this is what I'm going to do. Tell him. He would go to the side and say, next time back down the court, we call the play. And they're going to give it to me on the left wing. I'm going to pull up from 13 feet out. What? He would do these things. On the court, they said. He would tell people what the next play he's going to do. And he couldn't stop him. He couldn't jump that high. He couldn't run that fast. That white boy looked just like a farm white boy from French Lick. His ass belonged on a tractor trailer. But on that basketball court, damn, boy. And you're right. Joker kills that narrative, because he looked like a farm boy. Just,
he looks uninterested.
He's so good. And the other one I'm impressed with, man. Your boy Wemby. He got that 50, and I couldn't stop watching the highlight. He was hitting it. And like I said, we ain't talking about a guy who was like 6'10". if the guy is 6'10" doing what Wemby's doing, that's impressive.
Right.
What's Wemby? 7'4",
Yeah.
7'5",
Something
something like that.
374.
And this boy was fadeaway, turnaround, jumpers, 3-pointers. Wow.
That's another good example of a team where you have this generational talent, but you just don't have that team built around him.
They need to start building it and saying that this boy is going to be. I didn't buy the hype at first. I really didn't watch him in France or nothing like that. Yeah, he is as good. He is as good as advertised, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, he had a little slow start there at the beginning of the season, but I mean, he's turned it on. And right
And
now,
then,
yeah.
So, I mean, this is what we're looking at, man, around the NBA, folks. I mean, I'm also looking, after the cat trade, how is it working out in Minnesota for Julius Randle and Dante? I think Julius is as accepts it. Dante, I don't know. Things doesn't.
No, I just don't think Dante's found his groove yet.
Nah.
Yeah. And he really could have been a key piece for them, especially coming off the bench. But
yeah, he's not comfortable. He's not comfortable there. So I don't know how that's going to turn out. And of course, do you remember when John Morant was making the Memphis Grizzlies look like the next NBA champion? And that's the last. Well, excuse me. He did two dumb shits, and that was the last, basically, of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, I mean they're just over 500, but I think they're one chance, their one true chance to be a contender has passed. They're still a solid team. Jaren Jackson Jr. You bring in Zach Edey, he's looked good so far this season, but there's just too many good teams around in the West, and plenty that have jumped over them at this point.
It was nice to see Zach Edey have a good game like that. The boy got fundamentals. He got the basketball fundamentals. So.
Yeah, I think the expectations, given his time at Purdue, were not great. Being kind of a slower big man, more of a previous generation big man, but he looked solid so far, especially in Memphis.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I believe Darren Fox, was it, to score 60?
Yes, I think he. Yeah, wasn't that just in the last day or two?
Yeah, last day. I believe I had it here. I don't know what happened, but yeah.
I feel like the Kings are they're already back in purgatory, I would say.
I know. Somehow it looked like they were building something and it disappeared. Hold on. John Morant is the guard version of Blake Griffin. Great athlete. Highlight dunker. Not much real substance, not a winner. Not so far, Mike.
That one hurts. Blake Griffin was such an exciting player to watch, and that was it. He was a good highlight player. He was kind of a spectacle, but when it came down to it, he wasn't a true winner.
No, that's it. And yeah, so far in Ja, yeah.
Yeah, but going back to the Kings, like you mentioned, it looked like something was there, and they just kind of had their playoff appearance.
Like it fizzled out. And it's sad because DeMar DeRozan, that's another player right there, man, with Sabonis and Fox, and you're thinking, but I don't know if they need some more time this year.
I don't think they were a true contender when they signed DeRozan, anyways. But 7-6, it's a solid start, but
it's early, like we said, it's early.
Yeah,
it's early. I mean, but it looks like it's going to be fun. It's nice to see Golden State win in the sense that it continues to show the greatness of Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And by the way, let's not take anything away from Draymond Green, because when you talk about the Golden State Warriors, you talk about Steph Curry and how great he is, and Clay's gone. Listen, Draymond has been a huge part of those championships, man. Yeah. Huge part. It's nice to see him win.
Despite all the issues, the on the court drama, Draymond Green is still the heart and soul of that team. And this season, he looks locked in,
Yep.
compared to the last season or two. So
They're having fun again over there, man.
exactly. And, I think when the Warriors are playing like this, the league is better. You
Yeah.
saw how they were kind of looking last season. You saw how they were looking in 2020, 2021. It was down a couple of years, but no, it's good to see them where they are right now.
It is. It really is. So let's see where it goes. And again, remember, people, the season is young. Season's young. So, but we're going to go here and we're going to close this out with, I thought I had him up there. Where'd you go? Jay. Oh, it's right here. You got to scroll down, old man. And as we do on all of my shows, we get to the point where I'll ask Jay, what are your final thoughts this evening?
As you mentioned, we're still super early in the season, barely 15 games in, but I think something big will happen this season. I don't know where, but I definitely expect a big move to be made. And I think it will be out of desperation. Maybe it's Milwaukee, maybe it's a team like Dallas. I don't know, but I sense something will happen because of the desperation from some of these bottom tier teams right now.
And for me, now we're talking about expanding a playing tournament or some kind of. I'm like, can we please listen, NBA? You make so much money, and you're only doing this to generate more money. Because look at what we talked about today. We talked about disparity in the league. It's to the point where if you're watching basketball, NBA basketball, it's because you're a true fan. Because you're not. Yes, you have your stories. Home win out. The OKC still winning. Golden State Warriors and what the Cleveland Cavaliers and what they do. There's some great stories out there, but basketball is not exciting. It's just not exciting. I don't find an excitement in the league right now. And y'all really need to get to work on that, especially in light of the fact that look at the women. The momentum started for these women 3 years ago in the NCAA Women's Tournament. They gonna have a new CBA. They're about to get paid. The unrivaled league is coming. It just, and men, all we wondering is in the NBA, when we gonna see some ball? I just want to enjoy the NBA. I haven't even watched my Knicks. One game, that's it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for us here, folks, this week. This is, of course, the NBA, the NGSC Sports NBA show. I'm your host, Ralph Garcia, joined by Jordan Rhea. Had a lot of fun talking with you guys. So, Mike, Bird Munga, my man. Oh, you damn, dude. Damn, my bad, Mike. And all of you that joined us, make sure in the future, like I tell you guys, comment, talk to us. It's what we want. We want to interaction. We want to build this show to the point where when Jordan and I are coming on, it's time to talk NBA. It's time to let your feelings be known. Comment, join us. That's what we want. Don't forget the website. It is NGSCsports.com where you catch all of your current content. Till the next show. Peace.